What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here. I've had the iPhone 4S for about 6 weeks. I thought it'd be a good time to go back and revisit my initial review and see if any impressions or thoughts have changed since then. Let's go ahead and talk some iPhone. I love making videos where I get to face the camera down and do some hands-on action with the phones and devices, but there are very few things I love more than getting a bit old school and sitting in front of a camera and just talking to you sort of one-on-one about my thoughts and opinions. And that's what this video is going to be. And of course the topic is the iPhone 4S, which I've had in my hot little hand for just about 6 weeks now. So in my initial review, I said that the iPhone 4S is a great phone, probably one of the best phones out there and available, but not worth the upgrade from an iPhone 4. Largely, I still feel that same way. Some of the biggest selling points of the iPhone 4S, namely being Siri, was one feature that I thought I was going to use much more than I ended up using it. I found that in the 6 weeks I've used Siri, you take away the first 2 weeks when I was really excited that I had it, I haven't really used it since then. Maybe it's because I forget that it exists and I'm just not used to having a phone that has those capabilities, but generally I don't use it. I initially thought that I was going to be scheduling appointments with my phone. My phone was going to be telling me what the weather was. It was going to be telling me that I had to go buy groceries. It was going to be doing Google searches for me. I'm just finding myself not really using it at all. Not to say it doesn't have utility, just it's not really having that much utility for me. The best feature, and I guess this is sort of Siri, that I do use though is a text-to-speech. When I'm typing an email or a message, hit the microphone, and I can just talk to it. That feature I really do use a lot. But aside from that, I am not using Siri at all. I think I just forget that it's there. I don't know if that's unique to me. I'm curious to hear if you guys are using Siri as well. But I know that was one of the big selling points to the iPhone 4S and hasn't really translated to much use for me. The other big selling point of the iPhone 4S lives on the back. This guy right there, the camera. And I'm definitely noticing a difference with the camera over the iPhone 4. Still, pictures just straight up look better. I'm by no means a camera guy. Leave that to Mike Perlman. But when I look at pictures, I can tell what looks better or not better, and pictures just look better. They look better in low light, they look better in direct sunlight, they look better in twilight and not that twilight, with shadows and all kinds of stuff. They just straight up look good. Video quality is much improved with the iPhone 4, but the audio fidelity is not nearly as good, meaning the built-in microphones here, the audio quality just doesn't sound as good when you're recording video. So if you're planning on doing some video, and I'll cover my face like this, your video is going to look great. Audio just hasn't been that exciting for me. It's been a little bit tinny. You can go back and check out the original review and there'll be some samples there. But it just hasn't been all that impressive for me. So impressions generally of the iPhone 4S. It's still the phone that I come back to, as has previous iterations of the iPhone, whether it's the iPhone 4, 3GS, 3G, or the original iPhone. I'll occasionally make forays into Android. I'll use an Android phone for a few weeks, a few months. I'll use Windows Phone for a few weeks or a few months, BlackBerry a few weeks, a few months, but I seem to always come back to the iPhone. Last night, as really most nights, I was having trouble sleeping, and I was laying in bed thinking about technology. I was thinking about what it is about the iPhone, why I keep coming back to it. Despite complaints, I still really lament that I can't edit and tweak and customize the operating system more than I'd like. I think some of the changes in iOS 5 are huge. We'll talk about those in just a minute. But I was trying to think why I come back to the iPhone 4S, especially when I have access to, really pretty much any phone that's available, and some phones that aren't even available to try. It works, and it always works well. It's a consistent experience. I always know what I'm going to get. From an Android phone to an Android phone, you can get very, very different experiences. Going from a Samsung Galaxy S2 to a Motorola-built device, they can be completely divergent. One can be absolutely awesome and outstanding, and one can be a little bit slow and laggy. You just don't know. It makes every device a bit unique. With the iPhone, I know what it's going to be, and it's sort of that devil you know kind of analogy. You know, it's better than the one you don't. I know what I'm going to get. I know what the phone's limitations are. I'm aware of them, and I can sort of prepare for it. I never know what it's going to be with Android. With BlackBerry, I'm always sort of waiting for that next OS freeze, even on the 9900, or for that little clock to start spinning. I'm always just sort of waiting for that. On Windows Phone 7, I haven't found that many gripes actually with Windows Phone 7. I'm kind of now wishing for a little bit of higher resolution screen, but that's a minor gripe. In general, I've actually really liked Windows Phone 7. And again, for Android, I just never know what it's going to be from phone to phone. When I find a great phone that I really enjoyed, like the Droid Razr, the Resound, yeah, then it's a phone that I'll stick with for a while. And I know that that phone is going to work for me. But then I end up getting into downloading applications, and some that maybe haven't been that thoroughly tested that end up having stability issues on the phone. And then the apps start crashing, the operating system starts working a little wonky, and I have to find out which application is not working. And some people really enjoy that process. They enjoy the ability to go in and find exactly what works on their phone, tweak it to exactly the way they like, install custom ROMs. And I get that, and oftentimes I enjoy that too. But I don't always enjoy having to work with my phone. Sometimes I just want a phone that's going to work with me. And that's probably why I keep coming back to the iPhone. Now, that being said, I'm waiting for something else. I'm bored with the iPhone. I think it's been pretty much the same phone for the past better part of 2.5, 3 years. Specs have changed, but really nothing else has. The OS looks relatively similar to how it did, at least the core functionality, to how it did a few years ago. I'm hoping that Windows Phone 7 can be that next thing. I'm hoping that Ice Cream Sandwich, perhaps on other devices and more than just a Galaxy Nexus and tablets, can be that next exciting operating system. I'm hoping that BlackBerry can do anything to be somewhat exciting, but I just keep coming back to the iPhone 4S. So I've been rambling and digressing a little bit. Should you upgrade to the iPhone 4S? Sort of the thoughts and impressions. If you have an iPhone 4, and my initial thing that I said was do not upgrade to the 4S if you have an iPhone 4, that still holds true. There's very compelling reasons to upgrade to a 4S from a 4. Sure, the camera's a little bit better. Yeah, you've got Siri. I could very easily live with not having either of those. The camera on the iPhone 4 was fine, and not having Siri, I could deal with having to type instead of talking to it, and I can look up my own questions as opposed to having Siri answer them for me. I don't think this is going to be a phone you're going to want to be tied into for 2 years. Presumably, the design is going to change, the features are going to change, and the specs are going to change for an iPhone 5. And if all the rumors hold true, that's going to be the phone that's going to be a little bit more revolutionary. We're on the dawn of, and some would say we're already in the era of 4G speeds, and I'm talking 4G LTE, and this phone just doesn't have it. I wouldn't want to be tied into a 2-year contract with a phone that didn't have LTE capabilities, especially on, well, obviously the only two that have LTE right now, AT&T and Verizon. Sprint will have LTE sometime next year. T-Mobile's HSPA Plus network is blazing fast, so at least if it was on T-Mobile, would want support for that. But the 3 carriers that have the iPhone 4 have pledged or already have LTE networks. The iPhone 4S just doesn't have it. Sure, it's got HSPA Plus for AT&T, but I haven't seen blazing fast speeds, in all honesty. It's capable of 14.4 down in various places throughout the country. I've never seen or experienced personally anything faster than maybe 4 or 5 on a good day. So the big changes with the iPhone 4S are really iOS 5, and you can get that on the iPhone 4. I keep shrugging. You can get the new pull-down notification, which is clearly ripped off from Android. You can get the better push notifications, which are a huge improvement, and a slew of other sort of great features. But you can get that with an iPhone 4. There's very little reason to go out and get an iPhone 4S, and I still feel that way. My sister, for example, was on Verizon. She'd sort of been waiting for a new phone. She hadn't upgraded her phone in 3 years. And this is a quote. She said, "I want the iPhone with Siri." I asked her why she wanted Siri. She said, "I want to talk to it." I asked her what she was going to do with it. She didn't know. She just kind of thought it'd be neat and wanted to have the newest phone, as most people would. If you're going out to get a new phone, you're only getting one every 2 years. You want to get the newest one out there. But I think it's a case of misinformation between the differences, at least, between the 4S and the 4. So stick with what you got if you haven't upgraded already, and I think you'll be well rewarded. Maybe something new and exciting will come from Android, from Windows Phone 7, from BlackBerry, or maybe you'll get an LTE iPhone 4 next year. Sort of my thoughts and ramblings, and many nights I lay in bed not sleeping, this is stuff that runs through my head, and I wanted to share with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed. Do you agree, disagree? Leave your comments down below. I'm John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.